Hey there guys, we're taking a look at GTA Online running on the AMD Ryzen 5 5500U. Now the game is currently running at these specific settings that you see on the screen right now at 1080p. So I have most settings off or set to their lowest, except for the population density stuff like that. I feel like most of that should just be left at whatever it defaulted to, just because it kind of is what makes the GTA experience for the most part. But jumping into GTA Online itself, we're going around here just driving around, and you'll see that the level of performance that we're getting is passable, though it's nothing incredible. The 1% lows are a little low there, but they are at least staying above 30, and our averages being in the high 40s means that overall the experience is very smooth and playable, especially considering we're running at the default TDP and at the full 1080p native resolution. But overall the experience is going to be enjoyable, though nothing remarkable. But we can try to boost the performance here by just raising the TDP, and that's exactly what I did while playing in the game. Really, my main goal with raising the TDP was to try to boost the 1% lows, and for the most part it did end up doing that, with giving us 1% lows that are now in the high 30s, sometimes going into the 40s. But for the most part, in the really high intense action areas, it is going to drop down a bit, but it is overall a better experience than where we were at the stock TDP, though not by a significant margin. Really, what raising the TDP did most of all was just level out what was already a relatively smooth experience. So it is a welcome bump, but it is nothing remarkable. Overall though, I feel like most people that jump into the game are going to be perfectly fine with this level of performance, and it's going to be doable for a lot of people. But in really high intense areas, and especially areas with a lot of people, you are going to run into performance issues. We're pretty much teetering on the edge of playability, and I wish we could bump this up a little bit more. Now of course we can raise the TDP even more than this, up to 30 watts. We can take a look at that right now. So bumping things up to the 30 watt TDP does see an increase in the averages and the 1% lows, though again nothing remarkable. We are at least now keeping 1% lows that are in the 40 range for a good little while. Intense action scenes will drop things down into the 30s again, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was before. So we are at least seeing a gain with this increase in TDP, especially since the averages now are above 50. This really is a very ideal gaming experience. It's unfortunate that we have to go into such high temperatures to try to achieve this, because honestly I don't think it's worth it because of those temperatures. After a while this was already starting to reach into the 90-degree temperatures, and I really was not comfortable with continuing to play like that. Now if you're on a system that has this chip that has better cooling than this, or you're on a like mini PC that just has better cooling, you might be able to actually just go for the full 30 watts on it and actually get a really decent gaming experience out of this. But it's just one of those things where overall I don't think that it's worth the risk if you're on a system like this, where again we're starting to get into the 90-degree territories, where I just do not feel comfortable gaming like this for prolonged periods of time. Now as one final test, I pretty much just dropped the resolution down to 720p while keeping the performance preset, so we are running at the 30 watt TDP target, and really it did not do much to improve the overall experience. The averages did see a nice little bump, and the 1% lows did improve, though not significantly. We're pretty much just seeing about a 2 to 3 FPS bump in the 1% lows, so not really much of a jump whatsoever. But you'll see that we're really at this point CPU limited, because you'll see that the GPU itself is actually not even being fully utilized, so it is being limited by the CPU itself, which at this point is only really using 1 or 2 cores, and it's already running at its max clock speed, which is 4 gigahertz. So really we're just running into the limitations of a CPU that we personally just cannot overclock. I'm sure if this was hitting around 4.2 to 4.4 gigahertz, we would actually see far more GPU utilization right now. But this pretty much means overall that if you're going to be running at the performance preset, then you're better off just staying at 1080p, because you really gain nothing from 720p. And this has me very curious if the 5600U actually has some noticeable gains over this. But anyways, I hope you appreciate this video and found it useful. If you did, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.